Whoever said you need to deploy your army in a nice formation and march in order? This isn't a parade, this is war! Yes, that's right. No one ever told Slade X that that's the way you're supposed to do things. With another really nice asymmetric build deployment here. He's got 2 Iron Blasters for the Ogres with a couple of Noblar Trappers here. A couple of Noblar Trappers somewhere. Nope, just those 2. Yep. Okay. Yeah, then we've got a bunch of Iron Fists, Crushers, Regiment of Renown, yeah, 3 Iron Fists, and the Slaughtermaster of the Great Maw. For his opponent here, the Greenskins, coming in with some Durkit Squigs, got some more Cavalry over here, some Skirmish Cav, more Night Goblin Squig Hoppers, and some Stone Trolls, Savage Orc Biggins. We've got a couple of Goblin Spears up front with second line Night Goblins here, and a couple of Rusty Errors, well, Night Goblin Archers, one of them being the Rusty Errors. Night Goblin Great Shaman, or just the Goblin Great Shaman rather. He's got Ragnarok Mount, which has recently been buffed. 500 weapon strength, very solid, 360 AP, 20 bonus versus large, and of course, yeah, 120 armor and lots of HP is makes him a potent boy up on that mount. Nice to not see the little Gobbo foot squad, but immediately Skirmish Cav going to be moving in. Noblar Trappers going to use their Throw-in daggers to push back. Spider Riders, Wolf Riders here. Mangy Marauders are doing some pretty nice damage to that Iron Blasters, so definitely need to be screened out. But the rest of the cavalry just kind of waiting here, seeing where the Greenskins will advance. Greenskins kind of having to redeploy their formation a little bit here, as, again, the sort of the way, it looks like they're maybe scouting for some more hidden units, perhaps. But, yeah, just kind of trying to bring things up square again, make sure all their units can stay cohesive and in position to support each other, but it's exactly what Slade wants, is for things to get kind of separated, discombobulated, and pulled out of position. So we'll drop in here with the Sky Striders as they get ready to make their approach. Ooh, maybe not. Looks like they're gonna allow those Iron Fists, Horn Fangs, get in there. Take the slow. Yeah, you see that significant slow there from that smoke bomb, poison, under armor, everything else. Little fist bump though from the Ogres right on the Savage Orc Big End. It's going to be a mad value generation. And Sky Strider's also getting in here, absolutely wrecking those Durkit Squigs, setting up some nice blobs for another beautiful charge of the Ogres. And the Trolls and other things probably wanted to countercharge a little bit here. Greenskins will respond with some magic though, a little bit of Itchy Nuisance to do some melee attack of those units. Mornfangs already don't have the greatest sustained melee stats, but the one Mornfang that it was cast on does pull away there. While the Great Shaman's also getting real aggressive right now, coming up forward where these Iron Blasters can just destroy him. But the Slaughtermaster is taking the brunt of that. Yeah, Mornfang Cavalry with that charge bonus, even with their melee attack reduced, will still get in here and get some nice damage on that rear charge. So yeah, the Greenskin Goblin Shaman getting a little bit too aggressive here, ends up paying a pretty significant price despite that massive HP pool. Definitely be picked out pretty quickly. But speaking of getting picked out, while that's happening, these 2 Mornfang Cavalry Iron Fists in the back are getting savaged as well. And that's a pretty good amount of value. It's like 2,000 damage value by themselves. But Sky Striders come in here. They're going to help break some leadership. And Greenskins haven't quite been able to get to the Iron Blaster. The tactic I was a big fan of with the Beastmen with Cygors and Warhammer, kind of late Warhammer 1, Warhammer 2. That's a tactic that works well for a number of factions that have powerful single-entity artillery pieces that can threaten infantry. Then, yeah, you can kind of sit back, spread out, especially if you have good mobility units, kind of pick your opponent apart as they start to get separated and sort of get into different bad engagements here. It's exactly what's happening. Sky Striders running roughshod, taking some damage from those Savage Orc Biggins, no doubt, but also just trying to mess up as many units as they can right now. But again, pulling away, and their Frostbite does mean that they generally have a pretty decent time cycle charging. Stone Trolls leadership's looking pretty poor there, and yeah, the Sky Striders, though, still don't want to fight all this. I mean, there's Goblin Spears, there's Biggins, there's regular Biggins, Savage Biggins, plus the Stone Trolls, plus the Archers. It's overwhelming, and they definitely lose that engagement in the long term. So wise of Slade to continue pulling away here and just let those Iron Blasters use up the rest of their ammunition on this big blob of advancing green boys. The lads are absolutely ready. Interesting build composition, too. Like, I kind of get having a few of the goblins for anti-infantry clearing. The goblin fanatics here, night goblin fanatics. Of course, I don't know, are these regular ones fanatics? I don't think so. Of course, goblin spears. Orc boy spears also very good here. We see a couple goblin spears, but the squigs is the one I would say. I mean, they are going to trade okay, even here getting into Iron Fist, considering an anti-infantry type unit. But just not, you know, we see little, yeah, troll guts there, healing up the Sky Striders. I don't know, I think generally taking out the squigs, trying to figure out the composition to just take more direct anti-large AP, especially like some boar cavalry or, yeah, the new Orc Boy Spears actually with their high weapon strength, also pretty good in a situation like this. But right now, getting blasted by the Iron Blasters wouldn't help, of course, their infantry speed in this situation. But a nice cast of the Fanatics here, breaking the last of the Noblars. Yeah, really beautiful cast there. Going to do some friendly damage, but still, it's definitely enough to break those units. Now the Sky Striders coming back, haven't healed up quite nicely. Going to get intercepted by the Biggins, but should be able to just plow straight through. Looks like Slade kind of jumps to the side here. It might be, yeah, going after those Rusty Airs, definitely a great target. Iron Blasters also have like a volley each left, and then they're going to be deployed as anti-infantry chariots in the late game. Might not be totally ideal, but Slade's in a pretty good position right now while being popped as these trolls here circle beat the Slaughtermaster. It's going to be pretty good there, and some of these units trying to get into contact with the Sky Striders, but it's pretty tough. These Durkit Squigs maybe get a little bit of attacks. Same with the Goblins, actually, with the Wa in here. They're going to be very cost-effective given how cheap they are. In a situation like this, just continuing to threaten with their actual anti-large bonus now. Can you believe, guys? Wow, look at their spears. I never noticed goblin spears that they're actually carrying are these interesting little dual-sided ones. I guess it makes sense since they're so tiny, they need a big spike on the back so they can plant it in the ground, I guess, rather than trying to brace with their own body weight. It's actually a nice little detail. I never noticed that until now. Anyway, those Greenskins, despite how nicely detailed they are going to face army losses soon, and that'll be game as it's just the Fanatics left. 8 Peak Loons, of course, fighting to the end, but the Greenskin player here mercifully thrown in the towel. And yeah, basically the Iron Fists, Sky Striders, Iron Blasters, all nice value spread all the way around. The Iron Blasters in particular, of course, taking out that Goblin Great Shaman. Obviously, a little bit of a mistake from the Greenskin player. Definitely should have just kept the Goblin Shaman back until he was able to develop that advance a little bit more, and then bring him in a little bit later in the game. You know, sometimes you can overestimate the HP values there and maybe the damage, underestimate the damage output of your enemies. It's definitely happened to me before with a big, expensive single entity lord, I can tell you that. But yeah, some nice value was fought back with some of these archers, with some of the biggins as well. Durkit Squigs, yeah, 1480. So maybe I take it back. Maybe still take the Durkit Squigs specifically. But yeah, interesting here. I don't know. Greenskin Skirmish Cavalry is just not amazing right now. Like, the Magi Marauders are nice, but the DPS of Spider Riders means they're basically never going to pay for themselves, as they currently are, which it feels pretty bad. So yeah, again, I would probably find some ways to kind of change up this army composition a little bit. I think Spider Rider archers are literally like the same cost as Orc Boy spears, so maybe just, you know, cut a little bit there, cut a little bit here. Like I said, in hindsight, the infantry composition, just going more into infantry isn't necessarily going to help a lot. But yeah, 475 versus 450, or else you could, again, cut that with something else and then maybe try and mix in a 4-boy biggin or two. But to be honest, something like this might be a little bit too all-in on the anti-large, but you could always just take like either Scarsnick or the War Boss, depending on what kind of flavor you're feeling and what your funds left are. But something like that. 1,000 for him on foot's pretty decent spend, but then still need some flexibility. So I'd probably take, yeah, still take those Skirmish Cav, the Mangy Marauders at least, and then take a couple of Infantry Archers just to threaten. And then, yeah, that still leaves you a good 3,000 points to come in here and get some nice anti-large cavalry. You could even go with the Savage Orc variant if you wanted to. Since Ogres don't have a ton of magic damage, and even still, we're left with some funds left over that we can come in here and spend on whatever, maybe buy the mount for this guy, or whatever else. Yeah, something like this. Maybe you get the loons just in case they bring up a bunch of Noblars, because well, I do think Noblars would maybe beat the Goblin Spears. They definitely won't beat the Orc Spears, though, which is why, like, just taking, like, 5 of them, I think, in this matchup. Is there any reason not to? I'll query that to you guys. Do you think there's any reason not to? But yeah, these 200 Noblars versus the Goblin Spears, their stats are pretty comparable. The Goblin Spears, even being an anti-large unit, are technically a little bit better, so maybe they actually would win. They are more expensive, so it's not exactly a cost-effective trade, probably. But interesting. Yeah, very, very interesting. I might try something like this. Let me know if you guys do against, like, yeah, Ortonia or Ogres, just so, all the anti-large possible with a nice cheap lord with plenty of utility. Although I don't have a caster here, it wouldn't be... I'm realizing that now. This is how people forget casters, guys, if you're ever wondering. But thankfully with the Greenskins, I can come in here with literally 300 points and, like, just, you know, get this guy with, like, Vindictive Glare or Sneaky Stabbing. Vindictive Glare is decent DPS. It's not incredible, but considering he's 350 points, it's going to be pretty easy for him to pay for himself shooting large targets like Ogres, Ogre Lords and stuff. So there we go. 0 spend. I win. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like and subscribe. Hit that bell notification button every time I upload a new video. You'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.